So anyone who's a Alibaba shareholder should be not worried about Jack Ma spending here?
Well, I mean, first of all, to hit over 8 straight quarters of 50% revenue growth, especially when a company this size, I mean, the law of large numbers, they still have overcome it.
Right.
So, yes, so they've made some investments. And if you look at this strategically, you've got to applaud the investments. First of all, they're buying smaller companies, so they're integrating new technology instead of trying to do it themselves. They're investing in bricks and mortar retail. Mm-hmm. They're putting more money into other e-commerce businesses. They're even starting a home furnishings business. So a lot of the hit to earnings is going to come from their integration of Ant Financial. Alibaba is a massive presence in payments. Just a week ago, I was in Japan. You can't escape the billboards for Alipay. If you get in a taxi here in New York, Alipay is your third option to pay. They're going to duke it out with Tencent. It's going to be Alipay versus WeChat Pay.
Right.
But this is a fundamentally strong company that has a massive presence in an incredible market.
So should Jeff Bezos be looking over his shoulder?
You know, in a lot of ways, people forget they're in different businesses. I mean, Alibaba is much more of a marketplace business, and ultimately, they're not really holding inventory. Inventory in a lot of these big companies is a cruel master. Amazon is different, but at the same time, this is a market where it's been very difficult for other technology companies to have a presence. The real place where we're going to see competition is against Tencent, and the place they're going to compete the most is around entertainment services. So in China, there are roughly 140 million video streamers who are paying. That's more than Netflix's entire number of video subscribers. So we're going to see this company has a long way to go in terms, and especially as it's expanding into these new businesses.
Yeah, Michael, it seems like in terms of these businesses that Tencent and Alibaba go into, I mean, every time each company buys something or pursues something, the other one seems to follow. As you mentioned, it's entertainment, it's payments, it's food delivery services as well. Who do you think is actually winning this fight? How do we measure who comes out on top? And do they need to do more consolidation in order to do so?
The analogies are what's happening here in the U.S., and it's what's happening with the largest technology platforms. If you look at Facebook, if you look at Alphabet, and you look at Microsoft, they're all doing the same thing. Their product roadmaps look pretty similar. And I think we're going to expect for a long time, we're going to see that between Tencent and Alibaba. They're going to continue to follow each other, and it's going to be hard to see who ends up winning. The problem is going to be for anybody else, any of the smaller players who get in their way. And so in the same way that it's very hard for anybody today to compete against Facebook or Google, it's going to be very difficult for other companies to compete against these two giants in Asia.
Yeah, and Michael, I can't let you go without asking about Xiaomi after they announced their IPO yesterday. I mean, quite a turnaround story that we've seen in the past 12 months or so. But, you know, up until last year, this really was a company that dropped out of our radar.
Yes.
What's going to be the pitch during this IPO tour? Do you think that it's going to justify that $100 billion valuation?
Well, historically, they've been a company that sold high-end phones for rock-bottom prices. And what they're trying to do is convince investors that they're more of a service company. And so the problem is that services has actually fallen. It's about a little less than 9% of their revenue. If you look at their revenue, it's about 70% smartphones, about 21% connected devices like rice cookers and air conditioning. And the problem here is that they're really not making that transition into smart services and into other things that are used on the phone like games and movies. And so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. They're investing for international growth. They're already the leader in India. They're going into Western Europe. There's some real questions about whether or not their phones are going to be in the U.S., partially because of regulatory concerns and partially because of real intellectual property challenges against other both software companies and device companies.